everyone, I'm Linda Tullis. I'm the conservative on the show.
Hey guys, what's up? Monique Flores here. I'm a local comic here in the Southern California area.
Hi everyone, my name is Ben Jaja. I'm all the way from the continent of Africa.
Hi, I'm Val Kelly and I'm your liberal talk show host.
Hello, I'm Irene Campos and I'm the independent on our show.
Hey guys, I'm Margot Span, lead host here of Our Voices.
In the kitchen, at the beauty salon, over the fence and during brunch. Right here, right now, this is Our Voices. The hottest internet talk show where women get vocal. Today, the ladies and I are talking about transgender folks and transgender issues. Now, a lot of folks believe that they deserve the same rights as everyone else. We're going to talk. Linda, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about transgender folks? Mainly, we've got one that's right in the headlines right now, Bruce Jenner, who has transitioned to now Caitlyn Jenner. What are your thoughts on that?
When it comes to transgender, I'm kind of on the fence a little bit. I understand, if you're a gay or lesbian, but wanting to change your entire gender kind of still throws me a little bit.
What throws you about it?
I mean...
Are you confident you're a woman?
Oh, of course.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, as far as like Bruce Jenner goes, he was given this big award, for Woman of the Year, and that totally offended me because he's not a woman.
Natural born woman. Is that how we define ourselves as women? Yes. Women, that we're a natural born woman?
Well, my perception about that is that even though he has the physical look of a man, but he feels like a woman. To me, and what that is that he has strived all this time to be a man, but deep down within himself, he doesn't feel like a man. He feels like a woman. That's weird to me, but I accept it anyways,
So as a woman, you and Caitlyn Jenner are equal women. That's how you feel?
Well, if Caitlyn Jenner feels like she's a woman, I have no problem with her accepting herself as a woman.
Born
but
with a penis.
Yeah, but do we have the same components and body parts? Absolutely not. We don't.
I don't know that. I think that, Caitlyn now identifies as a woman and has struggled with that. I think that for right now, because I'm not fully, educated or have been aware of this issue, I don't know that. I think that the word transgender woman is fine with me. I don't know about woman, just because we have different experiences.
So let's go back to this natural born situation here. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that since the Kardashians all have gotten cosmetic surgery that they're not women?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, no.
They were born with estrogen in their body.
Wait a minute. You cannot compare any of the Kardashians with Caitlyn Jenner. No matter how big the boobs.
He's part of the family. What do you mean?
Well, my perception, when you talk about the Kardashians, you're talking about them inflicting their butt or making their boobs bigger and stuff like that. Caitlyn Jenner was born with a penis.
So you're saying you feeling uncomfortable with your body is okay, but for a man to feel that he's uncomfortable with his body and want to transform into a woman isn't. But you did not genetically.
1 second.
Wait, the Kardashians did not. Ben do. You are missing the point. The Kardashians.
Pause. Okay, I think y'all both have actually missed the point because it's not about cosmetic surgery or any of that. It's really about transgender folks wanting to have the same rights as every other female
or every other male. I completely disagree. We're not missing the point. This woman was saying that she didn't feel comfortable within her body, the same way the Kardashians said that they didn't feel comfortable in their body. And so she sought surgical means to feel better about herself, just as they did. Yes, there are varying degrees, but at the end of the day, these are just bodies, and we are spirits within these bodies.
The issue is deeper than that. The issue really is...
How much deeper can you get
The issue
than
is
someone's
really
soul?
about folks wanting to be able to express themselves how they want to express themselves and how it makes other people in society feel. It's a totally different scenario, me as an individual deciding to get
Don't
breasts.
you think that Caitlyn Jenner would have the same issue walking into that locker room
I haven't talked about the locker room. My point is, me as an individual going to get breasts is very different than a man deciding that he no longer wants to identify as a man, that now he is self-identifying
This
as a woman.
woman
Those are
decided that
two
she
very
wanted
different
to be
things.
perceived
Those are
as
two
a
very
woman
different
rather
things.
than a man.
That's his or her right.
That's her right.
If they
Okay,
want
but
to
all those
identify
years,
herself as she wants
Val,
to, but
all those
those are
years,
two different things.
Bruce lived as a man, had children as a man, got married like 2 or 3
And
times.
let's not forget that he
As a
won
man.
the Olympics and has been
And
What
a
does that
great.
have to do
But
with
I think the
him
subject,
being a
I think
man?
the subject you were talking about was do they have equal rights?
Correct.
Okay,
The subject we're
and
talking
that's-
about is equal rights.
They don't.
I'm saying
They
this is a
absolutely
very
they do.
respected man that is
Hold on,
now a
hold
woman.
on.
I would
Hold
not
on.
feel comfortable in the locker room with him, knowing that he
But
she
he's-
has a penis.
But he's not a him anymore.
You
He's a
don't
she.
know that she has a penis. We don't know that.
What makes you uncomfortable? The fact that this person used to be a man, that you think that they're attracted to women, or what is it exactly that's
It's just he wasn't born a woman, and it still just.
So outside of changing in a locker room next to someone who's transgender, do
I'd
you
be
agree?
fine. I'd be fine.
So are you proposing separate but equal? Is that what you're saying? Because we've had a history of that.
Are
Are you proposing separate but equal?
Yes, I'm thinking that they should have their own area.
So separate
wow.
but equal is
Segregation
something
is back then.
So that is something we are very familiar with in this country. Separate but equal.
Well, they have family restrooms. Why can't they have transgender restrooms?
Why don't we just open up? Why
And
don't
then
we just
water
have the Holocaust
fountains,
again
and
while
then
we're at it?
have
I
them sit
don't
on.
mind her drinking out of the water fountain that I drink.
You don't mind.
But I'm bringing up the point that that's very similar to segregation.
not.
Because you're
It
telling,
is, 'cause
you're saying
it's the same
this
thing.
is your identity. You go here.
But is it okay for the minority to dictate how the majority
We're
lives?
okay. Let's
That's
take
a
a step
question.
back.
No,
Regardless of
no,
sex,
that's a question.
let's take
That's
a
a
step
legit
back.
question.
We're talking about a human being, and you're talking about separating them from us because they're different. Because he was born with a penis.
Valerie,
That's not what we're
Valerie,
saying.
but genetically speaking, nowadays, a lot of places have bathroom for what is perceived as male and what is perceived as female. To me, there's not separation or segregation to continue in that mode.
There's also unisex
I
bathrooms.
personally, unless I'm sleeping with you, I don't want for a male to be in the same bathroom that I am. That doesn't mean to say that I'm discriminating against that man or I dislike them or whatever the case may be. I personally don't feel
You do
uncomfortable.
realize this is
move
a
on to the
bathroom.
bathroom.
You're not sharing a bed with them.
Well,
You're going to the bathroom.
Last time I
But
checked,
this is-
public
this is
restrooms
a-
had
this-
stalls
This
for
is
women.
a situation. That's not being unequal. That's not saying that I do not believe or trust in their cause. It's just that if they have the right to do that, I should also have the right to say, you know something, I don't want to go in that bathroom, or I don't want to be in that
Maybe
bathroom.
they don't
Which
want to
is
be
the
in the
point I
bathroom
just
with you for
raised.
the same reason.
Of course, and I have no problem with that. You know, I have no problem with that. This is a society where
Right.
you make choices and actually have that choice.
She's
to
a
be
woman
there.
and you
talked
need
about
to-
you talked about people changing their bodies. I mean, what's any different than Kobe Bryant going to the locker room as a Laker and coming out as the Clippers?
Now you guys are
What
taking it too
He changed
far.
clothes? I don't understand.
It's a change of uniforms.
So what does it matter?
We're talking about our bodies and our spirituality.
If Kobe Bryant walked into the bathroom when I was using the bathroom, I would be ecstatic. Are you kidding me?
Oh, God.
You're missing the point. We are talking about the physical structure, and that has nothing to do with whether they deserve rights or not.
Physical structure. We're talking that.
We're talking about
change of uniform.
Because it's
I
the
think
same
this is
thing.
a
You're
new
talking
point.
about
This
changing
is
your
a new
exterior.
point. I
We're
don't
talking about changing your exterior, and that now I'm going to accept you as a female. That's what we're talking about.
But let me-
in the case of Bruce Jenner, that's
She's
what we're
not.
talking
But what
about.
you're missing
We are saying
is she's not Bruce anymore. She's Caitlyn.
Okay,
But let me
I-
tell
She's
you-
not
I'm not
walking
saying she's
into
not
the
Caitlyn.
bathroom
Listen,
as Bruce. She's
okay.
walking
We're not
in as
saying that.
Caitlyn.
We're saying that
What
she's
about-
changing her
you're saying-
exterior.
so
She's
you're
changing
saying-
her uniform.
All right,
So
well,
how
how
does
about
the rest
this?
of
How
the
about this
world?
scenario?
So how does the rest of the world perceive when you change your
All right.
uniform?
All right.
That's
How
the
about
question.
this scenario? There's plenty of people that are born with both.
No, there's
Would
And
you
they
feel
and they
the same?
self-identify.
I've never
And they
All
self-identify.
right. Well, is
Not
is
always.
Caitlyn
Not always.
not doing that?
I've never seen that before, and for curiosity, I would just like to see it once. And then
Go to the inside.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. You
Well,
should
then,
Google it.
Bindu, well, then I guess for Bindu, we're going to have
But I
unisex
mean,
bathrooms.
a lot of those cases, it was much easier to turn somebody that had both sexual parts into a woman, and then these people grow up to want to be a man and have male characteristics. So that's another, and now there's this new movement in America where if a child is born with both of those productive organs, they can then in their later life choose what they want.
And I really don't.
That's
Sandy, are you telling me that if a child with both appendages came into the bathroom that you would be scared by that?
No, I've never seen that before.
So
I would just be curious to see that anatomy.
So it's pretty much the same thing.
Can I say something?
Curiosity aside, let me toss to you, Linda, because this is a very serious topic, and I want to talk to a mom. There are kids who are 10, 11, 12, 13 years old that are hanging themselves in their closet. They are shooting themselves. They are dying literally because they can't live who they feel as their authentic self. So that's what I'm asking. Like, just because you've changed your uniform, what do we as a society need to do to accept that you are now this other gender? Because I'm sure that's got to be difficult when you're talking to your kids. How do you talk to your kids about that?
Well,
it's hard. Change
especially, okay, when you're talking about going into the restrooms and things like that, I have 2 little girls. So to me, if I'm bringing them into the restroom and they see a transgender person, I don't think for myself that I would be
comfortable,
taken back or scared, or not scared. That's not the right word. But I'm like, but for my kids, they might recognize, oh, this person has more of a masculine body or this and that. So that's when those questions start coming up. I wouldn't have a problem with a transgender person being in a restroom if I had my kids there. The problem that I would have, though, is if they're not fully changed.
Let me ask you a question. What about in your kids' class? What if there's a transgender kid in your kids' class and they're going to the same bathroom? How do you feel? The girls' bathroom. We have a little boy that identifies as a girl. Can he go to the bathroom with your daughter?
As long as he goes into the stall.
So then what's wrong with us as adults letting them go into the stall?
That's what I said. Women's
What's
wrong with them as adults going into the stall? Now, don't get me wrong. It is a little, when we were talking about this before, it is a little different. It's hard to kind of grasp someone that doesn't identify with the gender that they were literally assigned at birth. It's hard for most of us to understand that. Right. But at the end of the day, we do have to embrace them because they are a part of our culture. So what's wrong with letting them come into the stall and having their own stall?
Well, I think what Linda brought up was, and you took it back, that you said initially that you would be scared.
I don't really think I would be scared. It's just something that's new. Like if I haven't had that experience yet where I'm in a public restroom and I have a transgender person walk in.
I think that what Linda says is a good point. It's coming back to maybe not the masses being so aware of what's going on, and so just like with homosexuality, a lot of people didn't know about what it was back in the day, so they were very closed-minded, and maybe the word is scared, homophobic, or whatever that may be. Just like
change is scary.
It is, but it's also a good thing, and I think that things like this are coming to the way. These reality shows, whether we like them or not, and whether sometimes our kids may see an episode or not, it's still bringing the discussion to the platform, which I think is a great way for us to become more aware and make a decision of where we stand on it.
But so how do we move forward as a society? Because it's got to be, Linda's not the only person that's got to feel uncomfortable seeing that. And in all honesty, who's to say that the transgender person is 100% comfortable going into the ladies' bathroom, standing next to a bunch of ladies who don't, feel that you're on equal plane with them?
She doesn't feel comfortable about it because it's new. That's ridiculous.
No.
Okay, I don't feel that's what she's saying. It's new.
Are you perceiving them as a threat?
What I'm trying to let people know is if I'm in a public place and there's transgender, fine. That's fine. I go into a restroom, transgender might go in there. I might feel uncomfortable. They might feel uncomfortable because of the whole situation.
Because they're in public?
You don't know how these people feel. You don't know how the transgender people...
Do you? Are you
no,
the
but I know how I
feel. That's where this conversation
I know how I feel.
This is not about how they feel. It's not about how anybody feels. It's about having rights. It's about being on an equal playing field.
Right.
That's what this is about.
And I don't see that...
Correct me if I'm wrong. when the ladies go into the bathroom, everyone is in a little cubicle. So when a man go there, you're not even going to see anything. You shut that door, you pee.
That's
And
We're
what I'm
speaking
saying.
from experience as ladies. What
You
about
pee.
men that want to go to a urinal? We're speaking from this experience as ladies. What about men that want to go to a urinal and a woman that self-identifies as a man and she wants to stand up at the urinal? What's wrong with that?
I'd like to see that. How does she do that?
I would love to.
I've seen women pee standing up. It's a whole
amazing.
other conversation, but go on.
Wow.
I didn't think about it that way, but you've just raised a good point. Women go into those places where the men, kind of peep and stuff like that. I don't know what I'll do.
What is this peeping?
So
What do you
okay,
mean?
so bathrooms aside,
I don't know where we're going.
what about the notion of just calling transgendered folks a transgender female or a transgender male? Now, some folks within the transgender community, they don't like that. They want to be called a female. As a woman, how do you feel?
Well deserved. That's wonderful. I think that they deserve it. It's about
Why
your
do they
mindset.
deserve it?
Because this body is just a shell.
How do you know that though? Your body is just a shell.
Yes. I mean, they have a mind inside of them.
How did
and
you
we need
know
to
that you
honor
were a
that.
female? How did you know that you were a female? How
Because
did you
I
know that you were a
decided
female?
I was.
So you decided that you were, okay, so someone deciding that they're a female, okay, so we're all on the same page.
And that's enough for me.
You didn't decide you were a
You
female.
know what?
You're born a female.
Well, I kind of read a little bit
No,
of that.
I decided I was a female.
I just read that a baby in its embryo stage, the mother ejects hormones. And depending on what kind of hormones the mother ejects, if it's a female, then you become a female. And sometimes you inject the male hormone to the male hormone, but sometimes it misses. Instead of going to the male, it just don't. So the male is not getting enough of that hormone that is being pushed out by the mother. So those males tend to have female tendency. Likewise, the women tend to have female tendencies. And there were scientists that did this study, over 24 scientists that came up with
transgender comes?
Well,
I think
That might be a theory.
I think being transgendered is a very, it's a rainbow.
That's all
it's
fine
a
and dandy,
wide
Bendu.
experience.
I mean, at the end of the day, when I get up in the morning, I'm choosing what I'm going to wear. I'm choosing who I want to be. And that has nothing to do with
but
what happened in my mother's womb.
you cannot fluctuate your choices. You cannot wake up one day and say, oh, you know something, I'm a female. That tomorrow you wake up say I'm a male.
Bendu,
I have a question, guys.
Go ahead, Linda. Go ahead,
Okay.
Linda.
When, for little children, okay, a lot of transgender children, they realize that, hey, I'm different than other kids. I feel like I'm a girl. I want to dress like a girl, but I'm a boy. To me, okay, I want to know if a parent, doesn't feed into that, okay? I'm sure this has happened to many transgender kids where the parents say, no, you're not going to wear that dress. No, you're going to wear, cut your hair like a boy, this and that. And there's a lot of kids that will grow up feeling ashamed of themselves and not.
I think that's where you hear those stories of
Right.
what you're saying. People.
But to me, as a mom, if my kid were to come to me and say, I feel out of place, to me that would hurt so bad because I want my kid to feel, the right way. I don't want them to feel stress or that they're not how they need to be.
So if they needed to be transgender,
So,
you would...
to me, as a parent, I would probably allow them to,
make them happy.
Have you seen the story of the kid that was on Yahoo that was 5 years old and the parent let her son transition and dress as a female? You would be prepared to do that?
I know it would be pretty stressful, but I mean, I think to me it would take time for me to even be able to process it. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, right away, but when they're little kids, I'm going to be like, yeah, you can play with trucks. I have little girls. If they want to dress like a fireman, I let them, but if they ever came to me and said that they don't feel like they're a girl, they feel like they're a boy, I mean, I would feel crushed and confused and worried, but, I'm not going to allow them to feel, that it's wrong.
Linda raises an excellent point, and I want to ask some of our other mothers, how young is too young? Because you're under 18, your parents are making decisions for you. Are they going to allow you to, have gender reassignment surgery? Are they going to allow you to cut your hair? That would be a parent's decision. So that's my question. How young is too young? If we're going to, embrace children who are feeling like that, how young is too young?
Well, I think 5 is extremely, extremely young because at that time the mind is still developing. So 5 is too young to even think about a gender reassignment. I think the person needs to grow more and develop more and have their organs fully developed.
But how about if they kill themselves before they get to the next age?
Well,
she raised a good point.
Well, they kill themselves because the parents are not accepting. If I'm placed in such a situation, I'm going to tell my child, you know what? You are so young right now,
but it's their choice.
Well, of course, it's their
think
choice.
age is just a little too.
Yeah,
it's a gray area. I think you really need to listen to your kid and be able to. I mean, I'm not a mother.
Well, you listen to your kids, you're supporting your kids, but you just delaying the surgery or whatever the case may be.
But I don't think age is a gray area. You say that age is a gray area. It's really not. It's really not a gray area. Let me finish my point. The reason it's not a gray area is because girls have periods at 10, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, but so it's not a gray area. Analyze it on a case by case basis. Because you can't base it strictly on age. That's what I'm saying.
But if a child is 5 and comes to you and says, "Mommy, I don't want to be a boy,"
I'm not going to say no. Well, you're 5, so you can't make that decision. I'm going to listen to him and analyze the situation.
Is a 5-year-old capable of that decision? Is the question. It
depends on the 5-year-old.
So you think a 5-year-old is capable? Let me ask her this.
Okay.
So you think a 5-year-old is capable of knowing?
You're not listening to me, Margot. That's a very
general
question. I think it depends on the 5-year-old.
I think a 5-year-old
I agree
knows whether they're gay or not.
No, I agree with Val. Can I speak,
Well,
ladies? Can I speak? I agree with
absolutely.
Val. I grew up with 2 older brothers that were my best friends. I liked to play G.I. Joe and watch Knight Rider. I was a tomboy. I didn't become feminine until maybe high school. I had never during that point wanted to be a boy, but I like to wear boy clothes, and I'm a tomboy.
So you knew what you were. You knew that you were a girl, but you just
I like to be, I was rough around the edges. I still am.
Those are 2 very
So that's why I'm
kids.
saying I agree with Val. Where it is a case by case basis. If I was saying every day I wake up and I look at my body and I think there should be boy parts there, that's a totally different subject. And I think it's these reality shows that are bringing it more to the forefront for people to talk about it. We wouldn't be talking about transgender right now if it wasn't for people like Caitlyn Jenner or this other young lady that has another.
And I think Caitlyn Jenner, I think she's brave.
Well, the transgender movement isn't just about men that are transitioning to be females. There are folks that are going the other direction as well. Females that want to transition to be men, most notably. Daughter. Yeah, Cher's daughter, Chastity Bono.
Chaz Bono. Yeah.
Correct. Formerly Chastity, now Chaz Bono. And we were just talking about how on Dancing with the Stars, they actually allowed him to compete as a male. So in this day and age, obviously, transgender folks are everywhere.
Right.
So we as a society have to figure out how we're going to accept and understand and be okay with the fact that these people are here and they deserve every right that we have.
I think we're making right moves. What you just said, Chaz Bono was on Dancing with the Stars, allowed to be a man. I think we're making right moves. It's not going to look pretty, but I think we're making a direction there.
So out of curiosity, if we could just flip-flop the question, I mean, if Chaz Bono were to walk into the men's restroom or locker room, would that be okay?
Well, I wouldn't be in there, so I'm fine.
If you were a man.
Oh, okay.
I would be in a ladies' bathroom with the doors closed, but like I say, I'm going to be very curious to see what he's done to his body.
It wouldn't be okay.
It
wouldn't be okay because
She wants to turn into a man. I want to see the lady standing up.
So
okay.
Val, that wouldn't be okay if he walked into a ladies' bathroom because he's not a lady anymore.
I said the men's bathroom.
Oh, well then, yeah.
I
then it'd be okay?
He's a man now.
Oh,
so we're creating
he's a
double
man,
standards
so
within
he
the
can do
transgender
it.
community. So now you're creating
Okay,
double
I
standards.
never said that they couldn't go into the public restrooms to
I
go
just
to the
said I would
bathroom.
feel uncomfortable still.
I would say
No,
don't flatter
okay,
yourself.
so
They're not
did
looking
you
at
see
you.
the
They're
double
going pee.
standard here? So Caitlyn Jenner
comfort?
cannot use our locker room, but Chaz Bono is more than welcome to use the men's restroom. Okay, got it.
Well, I think I think maybe where some of the fear comes from is not every transgender woman or man is going to look like Chaz Bono or these
What
celebrities.
does it have to do with looks? These
Because
are human beings.
people are going to be more
This is
intimidated.
right.
People are going to be more intimidated by a guy in a dress versus
We're
Caitlyn
circling
Jenner.
around it. We're saying scared. We're saying intimidated. Intimidated
The
by
part
what?
when they're in
of the
the
unknown.
beginning stages
But of the unknown.
No.
What do you mean? He had a penis. He has
When
a
they're in
vagina
the
now.
beginning stages of transgender, okay, trans.
So when they're phasing
Awareness.
out, when they're in
Okay.
the cocoon stage,
So if they still have
let me
facial
are you scared
hair,
of caterpillars?
She brought up a good point because she
You're
said
a little
phasing
extreme
out.
with
Phasing out. When's the transition over? Because that's my question, and that's why I don't feel that we should call them females. They're transgender females.
are you saying
they are
that in
transgender
between
females
phase?
because I don't know
You're
when the
missing
transition's
the
over.
point. These are
When's the
human
transition
beings.
over? When is
These
the
are
transition
human
over? Is
beings.
the
These are
transition over when you
human
bought your new
beings.
boobs? Or is the transition
No,
over
the
when you
transition-
self-identified as a female? When is the
That's
transition
human
over?
Wait, I got an
beings.
answer for her. The transition happened a long time ago, except that they didn't accept it at that time. Now they are fully, they are brave. You know, they can come up now and say, you know, I'm a female or I'm a male or whatever the case
once
may
their
be.
license says female, then I'm fine with female.
But it
Then we're getting
That's
into a whole
a
other
whole
conversation.
political
Then we're getting into another
speculation.
conversation. Now we're getting into the definition of what does it mean to be male and what does it mean to be female.
Hey, if it's
we're
written
talking
on your
about rights.
paperwork that you're born, if you're born male and then you go through all this transitioning to become a female and you're completely a female.
Why not put a T on your driver's license?
Why to you would it be necessary to have them?
A T on their driver's
Right.
license. What I'm asking is, when is the transition over? Because in
What-
my mind and in my opinion, I believe that God made male and female. And until you can show me how to create a female, not fake boobs and a recreated vagina, until you can show me how to create a female, I can't define what it means to be male and female because I didn't create it.
That's
so
okay.
that's why I said we should put a T on your driver's license.
That's
Okay,
a traditional definition, but people evolve and things change over time.
Help me evolve.
Help
me understand.
Well, we are evolving right now. I mean, back in the day, you said God created Adam and Eve. Yes, right. But now things have changed. Biologically, you see the difference, but mentally, they are the same. You know, because these people mentally, they feel that they are either a female or male, even though their biological outlook, because of something that happened while in their mother's womb, you know, appear to be something else. But you have to look at how a person thinks.
And up until 40 years ago, this was still in the psychology manuals as some type of psychological disorder.
Right.
So obviously we have evolved as a society. My question is, let me ask you, you have sons. What if your son brought home a transgender female? How would you feel? How would you feel?
No.
Honestly, I kind of would. I would probably be a little scared, intimidated.
Why are you scared though? We keep coming back to this. Why?
Different.
Well, let her explain her
Different?
fear. Let her explain her fear because this is why, as a society, we haven't embressed them
I've been waiting
wholeheartedly.
all day for an explanation, and I have yet to hear
Why
why you
scared?
guys are scared.
Why are you scared, girl?
Because how about if this transgender decides that he's a girl, and then my son falls in love with this girl, and then she decides she wants to be a guy again, and she made a mistake.
So is that your fear that transgender folks don't necessarily know which gender
It's
they
just
want
a
and that
time,
they will
it's-
go
yes.
back and forth?
I mean,
Right.
he could be with
Because look at
with a
Kim
natural
married-
born woman, and she
Is
can
it
go
Kim?
fall in love with
No.
another
He did
guy.
Kris Jenner. She married Bruce Jenner, and he decided mid-marriage
And
he wanted to be.
and he was in the process
It's the
of
same thing,
changing
though.
into a
When you
girl,
fall in
but
love,
then
you fall in love.
he fell in
Yeah.
love with her, so then he decided that he
heartbreak
wasn't
broken.
going to be a girl.
I mean,
and then
yeah. I mean, that's just
It's just
But your shell does have something to do with what you fell in love with. If
Right.
you are a heterosexual and you fell in love with what you thought
It just-
was a
it's-
female, so her fear is
This is not a
legitimate. I'm not
concrete fear.
dismissing.
It's
I'm not
not.
dismissing her fear or saying it's good or bad, but she has a legitimate
well,
fear.
you know
So
what?
how
We
do we
have
as
the
a
right to
society
have
deal with
fears.
that? How do we as a
that's
society
fine,
deal
but
with
you
that?
can't cripple everybody else from living their lives.
But you
because
also
of that.
can't cripple everyone in society
Right.
and tell me that I have to be comfortable
Right.
changing in a locker room next to
You know what? I
a
just-
woman who has a
They're
penis.
illegitimate fears. I could change my sex tomorrow.
Biologically speaking, a male and a female, they're completely different. But mentally speaking, they're where we have the similarity and they're where the transgender community fits. The men think that they are women because of their mental status and how they feel. I think we should be able to embrace that and not look at their genetic
And the women that want to be a male,
I mean, if
like
the,
Chaz,
well, if she feels and thinks that way, that's okay. I have no problem with that.
I don't have any problem with it either.
As long as it doesn't affect you, it seems like.
Yeah, true.
So as long as it doesn't come to your
And
house,
that's
you're okay
that's
with
what they
Yeah.
said about
Well, you know,
homosexuality.
if it did
That's
come
what
to
they
my
said
house,
about
Black people.
interracial
If
dating.
it did
right?
come to my house, I would have to deal with it, and I would just have to accept it. It's a part of life. You just have to go with the change.
Interestingly enough, it sounds like you flip-flopped over the course of our conversation. How are you feeling now after all of this?
I'm okay. It's just the world is full of changes, and we just have to go with the flow, I guess. It's difficult. I'm not saying it's not scary. It is.
Going with the flow. Well, let's get some final thoughts from all of our co-hosts on this topic. Linda, what are your thoughts going forward? We're talking about transgender folks and having equal rights in the community. What are your thoughts?
I don't think we should restrict anybody from, getting a job or, there's that orange
is the new black.
Orange is the new black, and there's a transgender on there, and she's doing great. There's a lot of, putting it out there in Hollywood, having actors that are transgender really opens the scope for a lot of people out there that aren't familiar with it. If you're going through hard times, trying to find yourself, trying to find your identity, there's a lot of groups out there that can help. I mean, I know there's a lot of teenagers that are going through struggles in their lives and are needing somebody to talk to, and if they don't talk to somebody, then a lot of suicides happen. And we want to prevent that. I know that there's a lot of places where these kids need somebody to be their advocate. And I myself, I have 2 children, and if they were ever feeling like they needed an advocate, I'd really try to find somebody to help them. So as far as that goes, I'm transgender. It's I don't know.
It's ever changing.
Yeah, I'm here for the ride, I guess.
Ooh, she's here
Okay,
for the
Bindu,
ride.
are you also here for the ride?
Yeah, I'm riding right on. Change is really, really good. I mean, coming from Africa, 20 years ago, if you had brought this question up to me, I would have said, oh my God, these people are completely crazy. But having lived here and seen people's perspective and have come across a lot of transgender, Caitlyn, and even the girl in New York that transgender as Kim Kardashian, I kind of understand people's perspective, and reading a whole lot of issues that scientists and studies have done, how you are born, even though you are born a male or female, but mentally speaking, you have that gender, assignment. Your physical body look like a male or female, but then how you project yourself or how you perceive yourself can be either male or female. Hey, by the way, everybody have a little bit of femininity and masculinity. These people just try to select what they want to be. As a person coming from looking at both cultures, I think people should be accepted for who they are, what they are, and not look at necessarily their biological or physiological assignment. All men are born equal. Martin Luther King said it best, whether you're transgender or bisexual or whatever the case may be. Up with transgender. I applaud them for coming up.
So Irene, it sounds like you've kind of come 180 full circle here during our discussion today.
Yes, I have. I just worry about those that come out later and they destroying their families, because I don't know if it's destroying, but it's definitely changed.
So you worry about their families.
I do.
A lot of questions still for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you, Monique, what are your thoughts going forward, transgender folks and their fight for equality?
I think that honestly we're making strides. A year ago we were not talking about transgender the way we are. Mm-hmm. As much as people love to hate the Kardashians, Bruce, formerly Bruce, now Caitlyn, he kind of projected this into our faces, because before we did have Chaz Bono's and other maybe new specials on transgender people, but we turned it off. And I think that Caitlyn, whether you want to accept Caitlyn for who she is or not, definitely has us talking about it today. And there's state and federal laws that have already taken place. Just speaking to the mothers today, they're saying, I wouldn't want my child to feel that they have no one to where they go to that dark place and they kill themselves. But like she was touching on is, 20 years ago, I would have said you were crazy. A lot of people would have said that. But now we're seeing these people invite us into their homes where we're saying, just like with homosexuality, people till this day still kill themselves over it because they don't feel like they have a safe place to go to. Where before, these people were crazy. They were, cast as outcasts in their families and whatever. And still to this day, I'm pretty sure with both, it still exists. But I think that with it being so much in the mainstream, we're opening our eyes to see, well, why this person isn't doing it to be crazy. This person's, in my opinion, this person's doing it because they can't help it anymore and they want to be who they identify themselves with. So I think the country's on a way for change, and it's only a matter of time before we're going to look, I feel we're going to look back at this and be, it's a growing pain because a lot of people aren't aware of it. So that's why it's taken offensively maybe in some cases. But I think we're making great strides and, let's continue what we're doing. I mean, nobody should die over what they identify with, and I think that's what people fight for on all levels in our country, and we should keep it going.
Val, final thoughts?
I think we're all survivors. Every day is a gift, and there's all sorts of ailments, maladies out there, and feeling discomfort or not being able to connect with your true authentic self should not be undermined by any means. We're all humans at the end of the day that came from the same stardust, and everybody goes through their struggles. Parents do things all the time, to tag on to what Irene was talking about, and I can definitely sympathize with those families or, relationships that go awry. But at the end of the day, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and we just have to love everybody.
It's funny you should bring up love because that's how I feel like we should end today's show, on a note of love and acceptance. It sounds like all of us agree that transgender folks are here to stay. We agree that whether you're male or female, however you woke up today, it's a blessing that you woke up today, and we as a society need to celebrate everyone. So we not only need to celebrate the child that feels comfortable being a girl, but we also need to celebrate that little boy that feels comfortable being a girl now that we're letting him be a girl as a transgender. That's about all the time we have for today's show. And as we all know, every good debate does not end easily. We invite all of you to come to our Facebook page as well as our blog and join in on the conversation. We'll see you next time on Our Voices. Thank you.